Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something absolutely crucial. We are completely tearing down and rebuilding one of the most high-stakes, high-pressure systems in all of enterprise software, the real-time fraud detection tech stack. This isn't just about shuffling data from point A to point B. It's about making a split-second, highly intelligent decision entirely in the background of a transaction. We are going to design the optimal, cost-efficient blueprint for a modern banking and fintech environment. No fluff, no hype, just focusing purely on what actually works under immense pressure. And to do that, I need you to anchor this entire architecture around one single brutal constraint: 100 milliseconds. A real-time fraud detection system basically has exactly one job and practically zero room for error. We've got under 100 milliseconds, which is literally less time than it takes to blink or for a customer to even pull their card away from the reader, to decide if a transaction is legit or if it's fraud. So every single thing we talk about today, every tech choice we make is driven entirely by this ticking clock. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's the grand schematic we'll be building layer by layer today. First up, the 100 millisecond challenge. Second, data ingestion and real-time features. Third, we'll tackle how we actually score the fraud model. Fourth, human review and the underlying infrastructure. And finally, we will put it all together into the ultimate fraud stack. So let's kick things off with section 1, the 100 millisecond challenge. High stakes, zero error. The reality of any modern payment network is that you're dealing with thousands of transactions every single second. Obviously, you have to block the bad ones, right? But you absolutely cannot stop a good customer from, say, mistakenly having their card declined while buying their morning coffee. To survive this massive balancing act, our system has 5 completely unyielding demands. We need under 100 millisecond decisions. We must block bad transactions. We must let good customers through seamlessly. We need the system to learn from new fraud patterns instantly, not months from now. And of course, it has to do all of this while handling thousands of transactions per second without breaking a sweat. Moving right along into phase 1, section 2, data ingestion and features. This covers layers 1 through 3 of our stack. Let's look at the data's initial journey. Step 1, transaction ingestion. Step 2, real-time feature computation. Step 3, feature storage. So the crucial point here is understanding how a raw event, like a simple everyday card swipe, actually becomes a usable, calculated signal that a machine learning model can ingest and understand, all before the customer even walks away from the terminal. For layer 1 transaction ingestion, we have to capture every single payment event instantly. Now, Apache Kafka is the absolute enterprise heavyweight here. It's the textbook backbone for event streaming. But if your transaction volume is moderate rather than massive, Redpanda is a fantastic, highly cost-efficient alternative. It's a lot lighter to operate, and it's totally Kafka compatible. For a mid-sized fintech, starting out with Redpanda gives you that exact same event-driven architecture, but it really saves you from the huge operational complexity of running a full-blown Kafka cluster. Okay, once we've ingested that data, we hit layer 2, real-time feature computation. This is where the magic happens. We're turning raw transaction data into actual, meaningful signals. Think of questions like, how many transactions has this card made in the last 10 minutes? Or, is this location super unusual for this specific customer? You simply can't calculate this stuff from scratch on every single swipe and expect to beat our 100 millisecond clock. No way. Computing and caching these signals ahead of time is absolutely mandatory. And to actually crunch these numbers instantly, we need a stream processing framework. Apache Flink is brilliant if you're dealing with highly complex, windowed computations. But for a much more budget-friendly and simpler alternative, honestly, Kafka Streams is often more than enough. It's our cost-efficient pick here simply because it's so much easier to operate. You can always start with Kafka Streams and then just migrate to Flink later if your feature logic genuinely outgrows it. Now for layer 3, feature storage. Where do all these computed signals actually live so our model can grab them instantly? Well, we basically have dual storage needs. For our low latency store, Redis is incredible, serving up pre-computed features in under a millisecond. Meanwhile, for our historical store, a data warehouse like ClickHouse, BigQuery, or Snowflake is perfect for long-term model retraining. And just a quick piece of advice here. Don't rush into buying really expensive, dedicated feature platforms like Feast or Tecton right out of the gate. Redis paired with a solid data warehouse covers most needs perfectly, at least until you're running dozens of models sharing super complex features. Let's transition over to phase 2, section 3, scoring the fraud model. This is the brain of the operation, covering layers 4 and 5. Layer 4 is the model itself. In this space, gradient-boosted models, think XGBoost or LightGBM, are the absolute gold standard. Why? Because they are incredibly fast at inference time and highly accurate on tabular fraud data. You take one of these, combine it with a simple rules engine to catch the super obvious fraud instantly, and you're golden. And this brilliantly illustrates a key industry reality. Practical models beat highly complex deep learning pretty much every time, especially when regulators come knocking. Deep learning brings this massive explainability cost. When regulators demand to know exactly why a transaction was declined, simpler models can answer that question far, far more easily. Next is Layer 5, model serving. This is all about getting that model right into the live transaction path. A dedicated serving framework like Triton Inference Server is incredibly powerful. But a lightweight Python framework like FastAPI, just wrapping the model right in memory, is very often fast enough, dramatically simpler, and way more cost-effective. Crucially, whatever route you choose, you absolutely must keep the serving layer physically close to your ingestion layer. You have to save those precious network milliseconds wherever you can. But here's a really important question that pops up in any automated system. What happens when the model just isn't sure? What happens in that murky gray area between an obvious approval and a glaring fraud attempt? This bridges the gap between machine decisions and the absolute necessity for human oversight. That perfectly bridges us into Phase 3, Section 4, Human Review and Infrastructure, covering Layers 6 and 7. Layer 6 is case management. This is where we deal with all those tricky edge cases and heavy regulatory weight. Because, let's face it, no fraud model is entirely autonomous. For this stack, a React and TypeScript interface, combined with Postgres for storing structured relational case data, is pretty much ideal. Now, what's really interesting about this setup, the true secret weapon, is feeding those human-reviewed labels straight back into your training pipeline. Those analyst decisions, they literally become some of the most valuable data you can collect to retrain and improve your model over time. And here is a highly pragmatic, cost-saving piece of advice for this layer. Just build a focused internal tool. Seriously, avoid buying a generic, expensive third-party case management platform early on. A simple tool that is directly integrated with your own data is going to understand your specific fraud patterns infinitely better than some off-the-shelf product ever could. Finally, we hit Layer 7, infrastructure, compliance, and monitoring. This carries some serious regulatory weight. You're definitely going to want Docker and Kubernetes for containerization, plus Prometheus and Grafana to strictly monitor that latency and keep an eye out for model drift. You also need rigid audit logs and encryption, but our cost-efficient pick here, rely heavily on your cloud provider's built-in security certifications, things like SOC 2 or PCI DSS at the infrastructure level. Do not try to build a separate compliance infrastructure completely from scratch. All right, let's move to Section 5 and see how this all builds into one blueprint, the ultimate fraud stack. Here is the full master blueprint to completely conquer that 100 millisecond challenge. Ready? For ingestion, Kafka or Redpanda. For real-time compute, Kafka Streams or Flink. For storage, Redis paired up with a data warehouse. For the decision brain, an XGBoost model and a rules engine. For serving, FastAPI or Triton. For human review, React and PostgreSQL. And wrapping the whole shebang together, Kubernetes, Prometheus, and Grafana for robust infrastructure and monitoring. The absolute golden rule of this entire architecture is perfectly captured in this quote from our source material. Every choice optimizes for low latency where it matters and simplicity everywhere else. Think about it. If you build a fraud system that is just a giant puzzle, way too complex to maintain, it is going to fail you exactly when you need it the absolute most. Elegance in this domain is definitely found in speed and simplicity. By the way, if you're looking to dive deeper into building these specific layers, whether that's mastering Kafka, digging into machine learning for fraud detection, or engineering real-time systems from the ground up, our source highly recommends checking out Uplatz courses. We've dropped some links to those in the description so you can expand your practical skills. So I'll leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thought to consider for your own projects. Take a hard look at the systems you're building today. Is your architecture genuinely designed to solve the problem? To actually stop fraud efficiently? Or have you basically just made it way too complex to maintain? Keep it simple, keep it fast. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep building brilliant systems.